this game is genuinely for them do or die. This is the lower bracket. There is no second chances. There is no opportunity to make it to MSI or to be in the final unless they lock in right now. Because if they lose this game here, Finn, it's a 3-0 for them in their first game in playoffs, and they're going home bye-bye until summer.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and it has to start in draft. We need to see them have a little bit more productivity, because it feels like they've been dancing to Fnatic's little fiddle the entire series right now. And I want to see what they can do, because they have chosen blue side. They're looking to target the Poppy. I want to see if they go for some kind of skirmish-heavy jungle for Isma, or maybe like a little dashy champion for Lot.
I mean, it feels like Fnatic kind of has it figured out. They've been banning Yone, Azir, Nico all 3 games, and I'm not sure what I think. Jun on Nico would really be the key that GIANTX needs to both have a winning matchup and be able to have those crazy engages later on. But when that's out, I'm not sure what he can go for. I think maybe you just want to go for a hyper carry for Noah and say we are going to lose the early game a little bit, but a lot of those lane bullies are out, so we can just scale up pretty easily.
But is that going to be enough? Like, do you want to go here for some of the Isma picks as well that you mentioned earlier on, Finn, or do you think the bot lane is
It's going to be a Rumble. It's going to be a Rumble really early, because they banned the Galliot for it, so the Rumble is going to come in. And when you pick Rumble, I would love to see some kind of ability that Rumble can follow up on. Because when Rumble has to initiate first with an equalizer, it can be kind of easy to kind of step out of it. But if you have like a Nautilus R that like follows the AD carry and Rumble then puts the ult on, that makes it so much easier for him.
And especially when you're into the Lucian as well, right? You really want something to lock that down. But I'm also curious, like, what bot lanes do you have here? You could try to go for something like the Zeri Lulu.
Nico is open.
Oh, Nico is open actually, yeah. They banned the Vi.
Because they don't want to give them the Vi Rumble combo. But by banning the Vi, Nico has now been left up and available for Jun, so he could look to take it there if he wants to.
The only problem is, okay, I guess if you go Corki Nico here, it could be a pretty good bot matchup if Fnatic decides to go for Lucian Nami.
Yeah, the danger of falling by picking Nico here is the enemy can now take a jungle on free and then ban out even more junglers. So maybe Isma is a little bit scared of getting pinched in that jungle position, but I think that Nico is such a power pick, they have to take it for Jun here.
Yeah, and especially when you have to look in an AD jungler because you have the Rumble already, there's not many AD picks on mid. I think maybe they have to go AD jungler, they're definitely thinking about it.
Sejuani. I'm not sure if I like that.
How are you feeling about prioritizing the Sejuani over the Nico?
I feel like the Sejuani doesn't really... I mean, it gives them engage, sure. Yes. It gives them a go button, which is nice when you're struggling as a team.
But they had it last game as well. They had the go button.
But that was a two-way street, and I don't think Isma and Jackus executed that well together. Now Isma has more individual agency to start the fights that he wants to. But I feel like you're also getting really, really forced to go in AD mid laner here, because if you have a Rumble, a Sejuani, and a Mage in the mid lane against an Ornn Maokai topside, the magic resist value is just so potent, and it gets really hard for them to output damage in the mid to late game.
And I'm happy to see Fnatic don't tunnel too much on the Lucian Nami. We've been seeing Lucian a ton over in the LCK, and most of the time they're choosing to pair it up with stuff like Braum, Nautilus, Rakan, and skipping out on the Nami instead, just how weak the champion is. And I really like that they just prioritize the Maokai. Now they have a really strong front to back here with this Lucian, and they can also then choose to ban out even more setup for GIANTX and kind of lock them into only having Sejuani as their only engage.
It's really tough for GIANTX here, because now you see Fnatic are really targeting these good engage supports that work well with the Rumble. The Nautilus already being taken away will also help them if they want to be the ones picking Nico. I don't really know how Nico Lucian works together. It's not really a combo that speaks to me that heavily, but you could take it if you really believe that's a high value pick.
Does Fnatic want that go button as well, considering the comp that they have?
I think when you already have like the Maokai and the Ornn ultimate, you already have the nice little non-committal engage from them. So that's the nice flexibility that is in Fnatic's draft here. You can kind of choose to pick whatever support that's best for the matchup and whatever mid is best for his own matchup as well. While I feel like GX, they really want some more sort of setup, but now with Nico and Nautilus being banned out, I'm not sure what they can really look for. Maybe a Rakan, but that feels pretty bad into the Lucian.
It's gonna be a Rakan or Leona. They even banned the Rakan themselves. I think now for Fnatic, you really need like a high damage champion, because you have the Maokai, you have the Ornn. The Lucian, while being high damage, doesn't have that same consistent damage. Milio pick is really nice into the Sejuani. I know Jackspectra always talks about the Milio, and it's really nice because now Sejuani suddenly doesn't have that easy engage if Milio is behind the target she wants to engage.
Yeah, I think Milio is just kind of a lot of times better Nami, because it provides a lot more scaling towards the Lucian with that bonus range, with the CC ultimate cleansing, and just provides so much damage both in the early phases as well. So I love this Milio pick. Looks like a Yorick.
Don't talk
Yorick.
about it. It's a Yorick lock-in, so that means that Rumble will be going either to the mid lane or the support role. That's a support Rumble. Wow, that's very interesting.
Thoughts, opinions, feelings here?
I have no idea. I remember support Rumble with Comet. Emax was a thing. You try to poke the enemy out. But into the Lucian Milio, I have a hard time seeing it really working here.
Yeah.
But it's a crazy pick.
I mean, they really baited out the Ornn, and now Lot has the counter pick. Ornn in Yorick into Ornn is a great matchup. You are winning from level 1 to 18, and you have constant pressure on that lane. So they really, I mean, they pivoted Fnatic's draft into a situation where now their top lane is going to have so much pressure, but it really depends. Is it worth it? Because if this Rumble doesn't work out, that might have cost them the game as well.
Yeah, but so far as well, we have seen a lot of issues in the bot lane, so put all the eggs in the top lane basket.
Yeah, I like it. I think it has a much higher chance of winning than the other drafts. You can also buy a ton of MR, because they end up looking in the Sylas. Now the Ornn, Maokai, and the Sylas, so much magic damage. I think this could go the side of GIANTX.
Some pretty great drafts that we're seeing here from the side of GX, because this is their chance to try and keep their skin in the game. 2-0 so far for Fnatic. Can they close it out, or will GX give them a run for their money? Let's head into the third game of the series with our caster.
That is the $1,000,000 question, Ginny. I absolutely agree. GX have pulled a fast one. They've thrown that Rumble into the support role. We saw it a little bit last year. See whether they can make it work here again. Corki Rumble was not what I had on my bucket list for a bot lane.
Well, me neither, but you know, last time that I saw GX on the Rift, they were playing the Sion mid. They were flexing things around a little bit. They have been chefs, and on the whole, it's not been too bad from them. The Rumble and support lane bully. You know, the Milio can't exactly stop the Rumble E hitting you. Dogs down on life in the LPL. Loved that bot lane last year amongst a couple of us. We've only seen one game of Rumble support, I believe, in this split so far in the major regions. It's a rare seen thing. GX using it to potentially keep themselves in.
They have got this final game to prove themselves, or they are going home early. That'll be it for their playoffs. Fnatic win one more game, and they'll move forward to face the winner of tomorrow. Of course, here's Army Core versus Heretics. That'll be whole thing in and of itself. Do tune in tomorrow for that one, because that'll be spicy in its own right. But for now, Fnatic need to manage the sudden shift in game state from that draft.
Last pick of that Sylas, though, of course, overshadowed by the Rumble that was locked in before it. Because it's a support Rumble who's, you know, they have the Comet, they have the lane bully runes where you go towards Scorch and Comet, you hit an E, you max it, you can reduce some magic resist, and of course with the Rumble, the Corki doing that with the Gatling gun as well. Gets a surprising amount of magic damage shred across the enemy team. Yes, it's good. However, you are still a support with support income. You know, you're not sat there with, you know, like your crazy salaries. Humanoid could steal the equalizer and do a better job with it in this game. Now, that's not the only AoE ultimate he has. He can also go towards the Chaos Storm as well from the Viktor, which can be oh so powerful as well. Humanoid, with that last pick, Sylas is actually very happy, I think, with his choice of ultimates this game.
There's some great ones to work with there, for sure. Equalizers and Arcane Storms and I was going to say Daisies, but actually it's Peaches, because of course he's not got Daisy, that is Yorick's.
Our favourite one for Ivan. Yeah, you know what? I have to say, I haven't seen Sylas taking the Yorick ultimate. If that happens, I will be learning alongside you in chat as well. Going towards anti-tank split push top laner in that Yorick. If he gets an individual advantage, can be an absolute pain in a macro sense. Now, Yorick is better at team fighting than he was in the past, but still struggles in that, especially compared to someone like the Ornn, who can just dump an ult across a team fight. Looking to pick something for an individual advantage, which is one of the win conditions which we thought they might go towards today.
Level 2 was hit there by GX first, understandable considering how potentially dangerous that Rumble could be early, throwing out a lot of poke there with the Electro Harpoons. Upset though, those now hit level 2. Dashes on forward with the Cozy Campfire on top of him and does chunk out Noah very well there. Nice work from the Fnatic bot.
They still have their heal and barrier to work with. Upset know that he's the one to jump forwards, has the barrier, can put the heal on top of him from Mikyx after that point. Very strong 2v2. Humanoid in the grab fields. Jack has to take a good trade here.
Let's get a good chunk, and we see a bit of contest in the enemy jungle already. GX looking to shield their bot lane by having Isma go in and fight Razork over things like this blue buff. Blast cone available. people already looking to try and collapse in on that blue buff.
Now, the fact that Jun and Noah can hold this tri-brush does mean that Upset and Mikyx find it hard to contest, though.
Blue buff secured there, now looking to turn this around. Jun in the middle of everyone there, throwing down a flame spitter or two. Just trying to get some value back as Razork losing out to Isma on the other side, but Jun now split off a little bit from his team. Bit of an odd choice in pathing. Will now need to back away, gets twisted, advanced onto Upset. Will relentless pursuit forwards, flash over the wall keeps Jun alive, but that was a little bit messy in terms of the pathing. Overcome Jackies though, still wanting to play this one as Razork's low.
A couple of key skill shots I think it just about ended up missing there. I think that Noah missed a Foss bomb, which of course in the early levels can be very high damage. So I believe that is a camp takeaway from Isma. It's a bit hard to track actually amongst all the cows. So I think it's a camp takeaway for Fnatic. Very close to getting some kills on the other side of it. Force Isma back without any kills gained from GX either.
Noah does go for the early reset himself, picks himself up that cull. Let's be real, this bot lane in general was always going to be a spicy one. These guys are mighty dangerous indeed.
Now, the thing is, we've had such a spicy top lane matchup. It's hard to remember that it is. Of course, Noah and Jun versus their old team, which Fnatic found a lot of success with. Has some of the stats, of course, on there too, just to, you know, look at them. On the whole, Mikyx and Upset have done a very, very good job. Of course, Upset walking away with our regular split MVP. But Noah and Jun, with a point to prove, sadly, have been under the boot of Fnatic's huge early game pressure and the matchups which they've had. Dest asked about it. Well, he basically gave the question to them. Can you find yourselves a winning matchup? Can you get yourself into mid-game on even footing? Early game had a bit of a back and forth, but we haven't found the answer to that in our third game. But it is oh so important for GX.
See whether that Rumble support will be able to manage it, because on the other side, Upset on a Lucian, Mikyx looking to empower it with a Milio. We've seen how dangerous Lucians can be at the very top end of League of Legends. Still remember the likes of Elk dancing around on it last year on BLG. See whether Fnatic's bot lane can prove their MVP status a little bit more with that kind of play. Nice little relentless pursuit forwards, gets another chunk. He'll back up with that cozy campfire and some warm hugs, and that's all you need to feel yourself better as Upset.
The magic sponge comes out from Mikyx to try and help Upset regen a little bit of
When
patience.
is that going to become a skin?
A magic sponge? Not exactly sure who that would apply to.
It's just like Milio, it's like that. Just give me the magic sponge comes out.
Car wash Milio or something like that. Come here. Come get your... I'm trying to think what else you'd use it for.
You've got the kind of cleaning...
Hey, and honestly,
the Janeth and Thresh.
Yeah, we have Janeth and Thresh. It needs to be part of this same skin line. You know, Jackie's doing okay. Hang on a second, out of Fog of War here. Maokai heading towards bot side.
Try and get involved here. Noah still got the Valkyrie and the flash.
Oh!
Razork a long, long way. And the kill's picked up by Noah. Does eventually get traded. But over comes Isma, looking to get involved himself. Jun is no slouch in terms of the damage right now, but unfortunately for Noah, can't quite survive. Kill ended up going towards the Milio, so there is that, whereas Noah did pick up the kill of his own.
He did lose both summoners, which will be a bit annoying, especially since we get the, you know, those summoners will be, particularly that flash down for the level 6 mark from the Lucian, which is of course one of the strongest points in the game. Isma heads towards the Dragon. We'll be looking to secure that one. Go back to a replay of what happened here. Razork finds a moment where his bot lane have pinned the wave towards their turret, forces the enemy to overextend, but gets dragged under that turret with a lot of mobility coming out. Makes it a 1-for-1.
Flash Valkyrie does go quite a long way in the end of it.
It's the Vi Maokai problem, where you click on a target and you realize, oh no, they're going to end up a very long way from the point I clicked them on. So it takes a bit longer trip than he previously thought. A long commute towards the Grey Screen.
Exactly. There you go. See whether he got his frequent flyer miles. Is going towards the early phase dashes here as well. Has got the Scorch Claw as the jungle item of choice. So going towards, at least at the beginning of the game, a slightly more damage heavy Maokai.
I think basically when Maokai's in jungle, he struggles to be as hyper tanky. Obviously in the olden days, Maokai was so good at that. But in the jungle, if you get that one dip towards the Liandry's, even with the nerf to Liandry's in terms of the AP, just the damage from it makes you significant at controlling space by applying that burn off the bush saplings around objectives. Razork farming well spotted on the top side of the map. Does that leave an opening towards Isma? Potentially.
It's got level 6, the Glacial Prison available. Dragon was taken initially by GX. Upset though, trading forwards. Noah very low, Glacial Prison just wide. Upset glides out.
The fact that they get out of that play just using a barrier is absurd to me. That is a no level 6 Milio. This is your last chance to hit that ultimate onto the bot lane before the cleanse becomes available from the ultimate of that Milio. So an opportunity missed there from Isma.
Tried lucking and Upset just faster to get away. Hijacks the Arcane Storm. So we'll have some storm fronts colliding in the mid lane. Jackie's trading up well with Humanoid, but again, Sylas still farming just well, uses the stolen ult to farm the wave out.
Okay, so we do have grubs coming up. That's a very Doomby ult. You just drop the ult on the wave. It's always his favorite thing to do on the Viktor there. You do it as tempo. Humanoid doesn't have the teleport, so won't be available for the grubs fight. It means that it's harder. Hang on a second, Razork.
Does get a nice little twisted advance into Bramble Smash combo on top of the sapling he put down in the bush. Isma, though, is already on the grubs. And GX will happily pick up a lot of those early objectives. Dragons and grubs both secured.
So, GX, game 1, hang on a second, Razork does have ult on the bot side of the map. If there's going to be an overstay from Jun here, Razork could potentially get a kill angle. No spot in that Triburst, so he'll back up safely. This time, Noah and Jun, they're the ones with the bot lane control. Of course, like when you look at stuff like the mini-map here, right? If your wave is here, you're safe, because the Maokai doesn't have that ability to same kind of like pin you with the ultimate against the part of the lane that they were in earlier. So them having bot wave control, that does of course make a huge difference. Razork did look for any kind of opportunity, but quickly found himself out of options.
Cole picked up for now. He's up a little bit of gold there, despite the CS discrepancy, because he picked up the early kill. It's not really changed all that. Humanoid, though, now being sent down towards this bot lane, where they're wanting to send their mid laner towards the bot lane a little bit earlier than sometimes standards.
See that Lot, hang on a second, Oscar's not got that much HP to work with, actually. Lot pins him in the baby cage.
Throws down that dark procession, and I just gets to keep walking. He's got the maid on the mist looking. And Oscar left on about 10% HP. Lot, though, took a couple turret shots, so it evens up the trade a bit more than it might otherwise have been. Jackie steps on forward with the Siphon Power and the Death Ray. We'll leave that one there.
Yeah, the top lane matchup, again, it's one that we've seen a little bit more coming out of EU now. We hadn't seen it as much during the split. It was really just consigned towards the LPL, where we know what LPL top lane is going to be like. They do like themselves a bit of a split push threat. We saw Adam play it a little bit. I believe it was Broken Blade played the other game. It's not been that common, but it's so good to like deal with tanks in that top lane and potentially force them so far behind an individual matchup that it causes macro issues. Because typically stuff like Sion, Ornn, much better in a team fight setting because they have great engage ultimates and they can throw that front line. If they are deprived of a lot of gold and they're not able to get to the fight because they give up so many towers, then that value starts to diminish.
And he's already got 3 grubs, which means a lot for this Yorick as well in terms of that ability to really threaten and become a side lane win condition. Keep our eyes on it. Lot. Of course, the Jax game wasn't a win, but a Yorick could certainly look to try and repeal that favor. Goes back and buys all the components of a Trinity Force, even if he doesn't manage to get the completion quite yet. In a good spot so far this game. Rest of the map, a little quiet so far, even if, as we said, GX had been the one that managed to get most of the objectives in the early game.
Fnatic, close towards that one item spike on the Lucian. Of course, when your support hits one item as well, it tends to be the really big thing for Lucian lanes. Particularly with an army something like the Imperial Mandate, the Milio doesn't tend to do that as much, but jumping forward with the 1-2 item, with the Lucian getting buffed up with the Vigilance passive, pretty nasty that. So Mikyx will look to get as much value out of that as possible. Isma just hanging around mid lane. Again, the level 6 being hit from the Milio means that the options are limited.
30 seconds on the next Dragon, fighting over that mid lane priority. GX will be the ones to head to the river first. Bot side though, Jackie's in danger. Out comes the ult from the Maokai. Bramble Smash comes on. Humanoid trapped under the turret. It's a 1-for-1.
1-for-1. Lock comes in a little too late to save his mid laner, but he might be able to avenge him. Razork hit by the Morning Mist.
Indeed, it might well be some last rites for the tree. Lumberjack down the dark possession comes on through. That means it's a traffic jam in the jungle. Loggers win the day.
Yeah, you're really annoying in that kind of space. Your cage is big enough to just block off an entire area of the jungle, and there's slim choke points. Lock gets a kill. Jackie's gets a kill. Oscar does get himself some plates on the other side of the map, but a little bit worrying that Lot is also getting more resources to him on a champion that can use them very well in an individual man.
All the while, Isma's onto the Dragons. That'll be second Dragon then for GX as well. They've already gotten the first 3 kills, so I believe that will be the feat of strength once this goes down. There's no one really able to come and contest it. Early smite, but we won't judge him too hard for that, and they pick up the GIANTX Dragon.
Isma helping his team get complete objective dominance again in this early game, so which GX have really tried to focus on since their mid-split. Lot's going to go back, finish off his Trinity Force, and get back out onto the map. And Fnatic need to be a little bit worried about this kind of play, giving too much gold over to the solo laners GX. I think Jackie's makes a good decision here to say, look, I'm just going to obliterate this wave, make sure that there's no way that they can play around that. Just get extra damage through. Ends up losing his flash, which will make him a little more vulnerable after that. Well, meant to hear the. I'm not sure if I didn't hear the comms.
I did not.
Oh, you did.
I didn't hear anything, so we can try and make it up. What do you think he said?
He said, "Wow, you guys are smurfing, wonderful, and that's a great couple of kills."
These casters, they're amazing. I've decided that's what he said.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I'd take every chance. No one else will take it for you. Mikyx spot on the top side. Isma could look to get a decent. I mean, could get the Heartsteel proc onto him. Not that threatening is the Sejuani in a brush like that.
Well, Super Mega Fire Kick came out and leaves that one alone. But Locke gets to walk towards his bot side turret, picks up another plate for himself. He's got a Trinity Force now.
There's no Milio here.
Looking for it. That means there's no one to keep Upset alive. Milio now coming on down, and the Glacier Prison going wide means that Isma, unfortunately for him, is about to get culled. Oh my dead, oh my days, he's getting away. Where's he going to run to though? Mickey's hunting, and Oscar's there. He can throw out as many flails as he likes, beginning to charge away. Can he execute? Not quite. And Oscarinin has donated the kill.
Gives the kill over towards the Ornn instead of the Lucian. I guess you got to give it over to someone. Isma found out Mickey in the enemy jungle and thought, hey, there's a great option to get that ultimate onto Upset. Doesn't manage to land the skill shot. Sadly for him, he ends up paying the price for it. Jackie's on the other side of the map, using the 3 grubs to take some damage off of this tower. The plate's now full.
Throws out the Hex Tech Storm, and Humanoid flashes away, afraid of a potential combo with the Siphon Power. Jun zoning off absolute everyone, but there's a flash on forward. Equalizer comes on down. Jun in danger. Super Mega Blaze Kick into the Nature's Grasp, and Humanoid slides on forwards, and with some Petricite bursts and a bit of King Slaying, down goes the former bot lane of Fnatic.
Fnatic doing a good job of, again, collapsing on the play first, by and large. You know, Jackie's did a good job on the individual matchup, but there were more members from Fnatic coming towards that play. So Fnatic get the best out of that. Lots not able to accelerate this lead as much as he would have liked. The charge does destroy the terrain, mind you. Worth knowing that about the Ornn Yorick matchup. Lauder seeing his enemy top laner get gifted a kill. Bit annoying for him, but he'll still probably take the turret anyway.
That turret is gone. Now Oscar needs to be really afraid as the Morning Mist comes on down. The little army comes on through. The ghouls all over him. Another Dark Protection. The last right's not quite enough. Oscar will away. The Morning Mist is well wide, and Oscarinin walks it off.
Swing and a miss. Fancy beat from Oscarinin to see him out to survive. That Morning Mist would have killed. Important that he doesn't die in situations like that, denying some of the gold which could be taken from Locke in such an important individual matchup. Herald on the top side of the map. Both top laners could teleport into it. If Oscar can teleport with him full HP, he will be much more useful in the 5v5.
That he will be. Has the Call of the Forge got to work with hijacked Sejuani off the Glacial Prison? Can be turned around. Lands it onto Sejuani. Isn't that ironic? Taste of her own medicine, and the bacon is cooked.
Sent to the dark cells of bit of isolation there. Solitary confinement for the jungler, the only one to go down. GX tried to contest a little too hard. Oscar did indeed teleport in, could have gone a little bit further, but that's just one of the examples of this Sylas being really powerful with the array of ultimates he has to throw from GX's champions back at them. And GX, much like we saw in that last game, have some good moments of playmaking, but on the whole, Fnatic are still coming out a little bit ahead in terms of these mid-game plays.
And we've not really talked about Humanoid this series. It's not really been about him. We've seen Oscarinin have some great games on the Gwen. We've talked about the
his ASOT was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. His ASOT was fantastic. I give you that.
I think we did talk about it a little bit.
Okay, you want that point. You know what? I take
carry on, brother. Carry on
back.
So what would you like to talk about Humanoid now?
I was about to say that Humanoid's 3-1.
You know, now I've thrown you under the bus.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow, Humanoid's 3-1. Anything else you want to add to that? Look, I think it's been great.
My leg's in a lot of pain from the wheels of the bus.
I think Humanoid's been really good in the last couple of games, and you know, now 3-0 on a champion with so many tools available to him. Eventually we can see him determine the course of the next few fights. We do have Dragon up in 30 seconds, of course. That'll be a big moment for that. Fnatic largely coming into their own now down this 1-2 item. Mikyx had the early item, the early objective priority rather, but potentially Fnatic can stop the stacking of the dragons.
Locke, Partafay found out, throws out some Morning Mist. Razork's also coming on over. That Nature's Grasp is likely going to be pretty wide here, so Locke just avoids it, but it's kept him in danger. Out comes the Herald, maybe used as an escape tool, but the Call of the Forge got it started. Razork's in damage. He will use that Herald to try and get on out of here. And they'll be able to drive right around with the kill successfully picked up by Oscarinin.
We have seen more and more of this. The Herald is not just a tool for breaking towers. As Grond hits the tower, it can also be a getaway vehicle. Razork, knowing he's actually in danger at that point. Good that he doesn't disrespect hang on a second, he might have disrespected the overstep. It's going to be a teleport back in from Jackie's here. They might think they've overstayed.
On the dawn of the third game. Look to the bot lane, overcomes the rest of Fnatic. He's going to try and take the turret, but he's surely dead. And with the jungler going down, that's probably going to be soul point to GX as well. I'm not sure about that. We'll not even get that turret. So Razork, that one's a goof.
You're absolutely right. He's gonna die, and the Dragon's gonna go over the side. They're teleporting it to try and salvage the situation, but Humanoid, I don't think he can do much against Jackie's here with Isma warning off.
Upset and Mikyx are coming though. I think the violence is about to continue. The Humanoid goes on, it lands the abduction, but there's an equalizer after! And Fnatic! The decision making is perplexing.
As soon as Razork got behind the wheels of that goddamn Herald, everything went a little bit awry.
He's fast and furious. We should have known. We should have known.
You know, they do end up getting a load of damage onto the bot lane out of turret, but look, we'll go, look, show us whatever you want to show in the replay. We'll figure out what happens after this point. They try and shut down the Yorick in the side lane. Yorick is really powerful against two lower damage champions compared to some other champions you can find in these two roles. Gets a lot of healing from the last twice. Humanoid is caught down as well. But if the Herald was not put in here, there is a decent chance that actually the Maokai could have fallen. Use it as a pseudo getaway vehicle. Actually, all he ends up doing is put himself right behind enemy lines. Goes down. As you rightfully said, it is actually going to be soul point earned from GX. Fnatic a feel-good moment, but the substance of the play goes to GX.
And it is. Little note here from Jackie as well. Got a second item. Went towards the Bloodletter's Curse on the Victor here as well to get a bit more of that individual side lane damage.
I did see he went for the double back spell on the guy. Yes, Jackie's back in the Masquerade Ball as he did the triple mass build, of course, on the Kali a little while ago. But hey, this is pretty decent builds in terms of kind of shred, being a little bit tankier whilst you still get some extra DPS. It can help you against some of the tanky members, of course, when you can shred that magic resist. Potentially even for the Rumble as well, worth noting. So we'll see if he can get some value there. Humanoid takes the top lane out of turret.
John also now with the Realm Spike in the Leandries is actually not exactly a small threat either. We've not really seen the Lucian and Milio get involved over the last little minute, and when you're running a Lucian plus Enchanter bot lane, you do want to start getting some value at this point in the game, especially now down a potential soul. Got 4 minutes till that's option, and now GX just take the opportunity to run through mid, claim that turret. They've got the 3 grubs. That's not a hard task there for the Corki. Waits a moment or two and then takes that turret.
GX are in a good spot. Yeah, they're in a good spot. No, suddenly you look at a bot lane which has, for the first time, had a decent gold lead hanging to mid lane. That is a big amount of gold to be up against a Lucian, which typically tends to spike around the 1 to 2 item mark. That's how it falls in favor of Fnatic. No one around for the local gold, I believe. Yeah, these objective stats come from their recent games since week 5. GX on the whole do get themselves those early dragons on the whole, but they tend to roll them early. Later on into the game, Fnatic with their mid games have typically picked up more barons and the likes there, but GX have really showed a lot of that objective prior. We'll see whether they can capitalize on that to get a soul a little bit further into the future.
Well, if you're looking for indicators that GX were going to win a game, those were a lot of those metrics that go towards that happening. Already looking for a bit of a pick here or there. The Glacier did just go wide. Yeah, he's not actually hit all that many in this game, it has to be said.
No, I will say, this is actually the kind of game where the Sejuani ultimate can be a bit decorative, where you're just using it to buy the Milio ultimate.
Yeah.
However, you would still like to hit the ultimate in the first place, particularly the early ones where it was before, while Mickey was away from the carry or before he was level 6, they were a little more important. Hit upset, trying to use that 2-item spike. You see the Corki trading well.
Equalizer comes on down, but there's still a Maokai ultimate work with the Nature Scratch, but there's no reason. Danger is dead! Humanoid abducts his life bar, and they turn it around onto the Rumble as well. There's nothing equal about that. Isma caught under the turret, but gets to back away.
Humanoid flash predicts his old AD carry and sends the huge gold lead into the CPS screen. Insane from the mid laner of Fnatic.
Oh, he said it might be about the Sylas, it might be about Humanoid. It is now. What a moment!
I'm telling you now, that one's going in the montage. That's going to buy them the Atakan. And it takes the Corki off of the field when he's in such a moment of power. Good moment here from Fnatic. So the Yorick is in the side lane.
Yorick's just turning on that turret, needs to back away a little bit, but the ghouls go on forwards and Sylas not enjoying that all that much right now. And again, a feel-good moment. It neutralizes the gold lead on the whole.
I demand a replay of this. We're gonna get it. It's a fight in the mid lane. The Corki feels strong and absolutely has every right to. Humanoid gets the flash predict onto Noah. Oh, that feels so satisfying to watch. Humanoid comes in and turns the tables.
Oh, Noah meet Arc. That one's rough. He's set on a journey. That one hurts.
Well, there's currently a scoreline, is 2-2. So
Yeah.
GX, they are trying to fight for this soul point in a minute and a half. Any kind of advantage they could have in the lead up to help towards setup would have helped an awful lot. But because they end up losing that top side fight and the Atacama, Ward's now lit to the bot side from Fnatic, and GX will have to set up the vision control a little bit late towards the play. They still have a minute to do so, but Fnatic using that play not just to feel good, wow, we got a really cool kill and that'll be an old montages for the next couple of days, but also it'll give them the vision advantage for what could be the determining fight, the fight which GX desperately need now.
Worth noting, though, that of course you've still got the 2 items fight now on this Corki button towards a 3rd item. You've got 2.5 items on the Viktor, who's not that far off level 16. This Yorick is still scaring. I don't want to say that GX don't have ways to win. Honestly, they can afford to give up some dragons and look to allow this Yorick to be a problem in the side lane if they want.
Yeah, that is actually true, very true. Potentially they can give up a dragon or something like that, but my worry is the longer it goes into the game, the harder objective fights are to play against an Ornn and a Maokai, which is so strong at kind of keeping you away from the team, getting that long-range firepower, especially with Humanoid now picking up some items as well. What happens if he starts throwing some of your ultimates back at you? 20 seconds till the dragon. We are getting a contest from the looks of it. Teleport in from Jackie's.
Lot still has his, going to try and get as much done topside before he's forced to leave the split push and join the team. Isma walk down the river and Arctic Assault's back over the wall. It is Fnatic now looking to wrest control of the river.
So Yorick will get the top lane in a turret. That's gold over towards him. We'll see whether he has time to recall, spend some of that gold and come back into it. Dragon start up by Fnatic. Do they give it? Looks like.
They might just look to split Fnatic off from getting back towards the mid lane. They're happy to allow this Yorick to throw down and get us. They have to TP in because this Yorick is such a problem. But if he's TPing away, what about the 4v4? Isma in danger. Gets caught up. Mid lane Arctic Assault. And he's charged on down. The Forge Guard is called. The answer's with death. Upset. Needs to run away, but John dies for it. It's a double to the mid MVP. Jackie's and Noah now forced to retreat. All the while, though, look in the picture-in-picture. Lock gets the inhibitor.
The teleport back towards the top lane does leave an opening for GX, but they don't necessarily know how to plan around it. They're now going to go towards the Yorick in the side lane. He has flashed a decent amount of HP. I don't think they win as a 2v2. They need someone else to come in.
Warning Miss Slow comes on down there. The Dark Procession prevents Oscarinin getting over too easily. Humanoid still roaming down here. Razork, no ult, no flash. I think
he's
Yorick
just
gets
out.
to walk
Look,
away.
he's just out. Like, the Ornn and the Maokai have precious fuel tools as a top jungle 2v2 to deal with the Yorick. You need someone else to come into that play. So, Soul is not secured for GX. Fnatic add a little bit of time onto that timer. Also, they get themselves a really good fight afterwards, which means that Fnatic, they do lose the inhibitor, but I think they were likely to do that in that kind of macro situation anyway, where they chose to leave that Yorick on the side lanes. GX, what can they do now with a 3-item Yorick?
2,500 gold ahead of this Ornn. Is a bit of a menace. He's also 70 CS up as well. Not quite at the flame horizon, but he's edging towards it. The sky is getting mighty light.
Yeah, that is really, really scary. Now the question is, because I don't think Sylas beats out Yorick at all in a side lane either. There are too many ways to block the E with the ghouls and the maidens. You rarely get a clean E onto him. Often you want to E out of a play anyway. If you're stuck in melee with a Yorick by and large wins, especially at these kind of items. So Fnatic need to be very, very wary of how much of a leash they give Lot on the top lane. How much are they willing to give up? It's okay to deny a soul, but you can only do that so many times before your base is gone.
Still, Ornn has taken a lot of his teammates to the jewellery shop and started to give them some nice ornaments. Note that Upset has that Essence Reaver upgraded, so for all he's down 300 or so gold, that extra amount of stats is pretty valuable here, and a 3-item Lucian with the Milio behind is still a bit of a nightmare. Ran over that last fight, picked up his first couple of kills in the game, so definitely look to turn this around and look in the mid lane. Jackie's potentially in danger, doesn't quite find it. Oscarinin though, looking on the lot. He is caught under turret. Dark Procession comes on down. The knock-up comes on through. He's trying to turn around with the last right healing. Culling comes on down as Jackie's also threatened out. Humanoid napped away. That Arcane Storm isn't nicked for it. Gets away with that little bit of theft. Oscarinin though now getting turned around on the extended trades, much better for the Yorick.
Yeah, if he ends up getting hit by that Dark Procession, probably has to blow the flash too. Again, if you don't kill the Yorick, tends to regen a lot back. Does kill the Maiden, that is important. It's a long cooldown for the Yorick. Fnatic don't find the fight that they're looking for in the mid lane.
Very tense here. Feels like every time we get a fight with the 4, the 1v1 goes full all in as well, understandably so. GX, you know what their win condition is. It's named Lot. It's on the Yorick. On the other side, Fnatic are beginning to get to a point where these Ornn items are becoming problematic. The team fight's so much harder to execute for GX when their CC is limited, the Breath of Life's come on through, and these Call of the Forge Gods and Maokai Nature's Grasps are proving very difficult to manage for GX, it feels like.
Fnatic falling so far behind in the objectives has been a real issue for them. GX, as we said before around the last dragon, they can give up a dragon. Now they can look for the fight if they have to, but as long as they don't lose too much in it, they don't lose a Baron over a botched dragon fight, GX are very happy playing this out. Fnatic have a lot of dragons to go until they get towards Sol. I don't really think Fnatic want to send too many members over towards Lot's side of the map, especially with the items. He's going towards most likely a Cyrilda's Grudge coming in on 4th item as well, which is just disgusting, pinning people into the fight. That's a Grudge, as Lot has been facilitated well by his team. Isma going to walk into this wall side jungle, find both tanks there, and both of them will leave the play. But so often when I see Yorick, and again, this is mostly from in the LPL, really, the teams which succeed with it are the ones which actually support their top laner on a macro sense. Dragon is up now in a minute. They have another choice to say, okay, how much do we give to the Yorick? He is pushing up away from that top side. How much time can GX buy him in a top side? Or, if they do look for the fight, what angle do they choose to bring the Yorick into the play with such a big gold lead?
Well, they'll have to do their best to put up that catch-22 and ask Fnatic to choose one or the other. Dragon wouldn't be that valuable, but losing the inhibitor down again could be problematic.
Yeah, so Fnatic trying to buy some space and vision. Sejuani ult misses. Stolen.
Away, yeah.
Level 16 from Sylas means you get them up pretty quickly, and now Yorick is going towards the exposed Nexus. There is no inhibitor in that top side, remember.
Very, very scary. What can the Ornn do to stop it? Hit by that Morning Mist, taking a lot of incidental chip damage at this point. Onto the Dragon they go. Fnatic trying to rush this down, but GX looking to contest. Humanoid on a flank angle. Big Scratch comes on through and will zone GX off. That will earn them the Dragon, pretty guaranteed here. All the while, the Lot ended up taking a bit too much damage as the Equalizer comes on down, trying to buy some time on the retreat. Isma low though. Humanoid looking for the abduction, can't quite find it. Dark Possession lands. Will look to back away. The inhibitor respawns topside.
So that is going to be another Dragon given over to Fnatic for a chance for Lot to go towards the Nexus. He's pushed up quite far, but I think he'll be safe again to walk out of this. From what I was seeing, I'm just looking at Lot's point of view on the other side of this. Lot took too many tower shots to really go for a clean take. He ended up kind of dipping in and out of the tower range on the Nexus itself, meaning that, yes, he did end up, taking a lot of HP off of that first turret. Doesn't end up threatening the end of the game. Blew their stacks quite easily. Fnatic breathe a sigh of release. That's one of their, I guess, their macro pop quizzer to say, okay, catch this, what are you doing with the Yorick? One of those tests has been passed.
The gold lead, nominal at this point. 8,000 gold lead, just under that at 30 minutes means not all that much. And we've seen GX get that kind of gold lead pretty much every game. But it has felt like Fnatic, as I go for a full sentence, have been better in those team fight scenarios, have ended up in those mid and late stages just being better team fighters and often scalers. And you can see that a lot of that gold really for GX is in that top side. And the Ornn at this point is providing lots of value elsewhere. That's an upgraded Leandries for the Maokai, it's an upgraded Rocket Bell for the Sylas. The value is coming in.
The overall gold lead is not that much. The things which are not gold are dragons on one side, right, where you have them, but then you have the Ornn items being built up on the other side, almost all of them being gifted over to teammates by Oscarinin, and that adds some factors which don't show in the gold itself. If GX get the soul, they are very, very happy. At that point, the Yorick is very, very, very hard to deal with. Fnatic on the other side, they really need to get a Baron, I think. If they get themselves the Baron, I think that if GX mess up enough for them to go towards that, that's their way to really break open the map, stop the Yorick taking over. If they can kill the Yorick, of course, in the play too, that opens up things a lot easier. If they get this, it gives them so much more room to play with, because they're struggling to get the clean fights that they need to stop GX playing the macro around the Yorick. And here they go for it.
Was GX, who were initially in the river, leave it. Yorick going to start split pushing, has to teleport. So does Oscarinin. Begins to join the play. Thank you for the big picture. But it's another Maokai ult. In comes the Equalizer. Glacial Prison comes on down, but there's a Breath of Life. Into the pit, though goes Isma. GX find their moment. Lot on the other side. Oscarinin calls the dark protection against it down out of nowhere. Begins to unleash the fourth bomb lands. Jackie sidesteps the abduction. But Humanoid still lands. The Glacial Prison goes golden. They're still overdoing it. Humanoid is dead. Will bring down the shovel. The Forge God meets the Maiden, and even gods can die.
Sylas only the second biggest thief on the Rift as Isma steals the Baron that Fnatic would have needed to come back into the macro of this game. GX live to fight potentially for another game.
They can at least break the inhibitor here in mid lane. There's 30 seconds on pretty much everyone that's meaningful. It will not be the clean sweep. It will not be the 3-0, and GX will do their very best to end the game right here, right now, and bring us to a game 4.
The Oracle makes short work of the towers. We will not have a clean sweep. We will at least go to 4 games. GX, stay alive.
They refuse to bow out. They refuse to go quietly into the night. And a Baron fight, a Baron steal. And we're going to 4.